Most of the time, the reason you can't stick to a plan or a budget is because the plan is unrealistic. It doesn't align with your interests or your goals. And the only way to know, like, I'm going to give you an example. Maybe you're like, I really need to be a morning person. I need to wake up and, like, first thing, go to a 6 a.m. workout class, but you thrive, like, your most creative energy is like 1 a.m. Most of us think we need to be a version of ourselves without actually paying attention to, like, what we are naturally drawn to, what we naturally give a fuck about, how our biological and our body clock actually work. And so if you're having a really hard time sticking to a routine, two things are probably happening. One is that you don't have a bigger vision or goal that you're trying to achieve, because everything that you're doing should be aligned with, like, what you're trying to move towards, whether it's a financial goal, whether it's a career goal, whatever. If you're not moving towards something, you will be moved by everything else around you. You need a compass that points you north. If you don't have a goal, everyone else around you, your parents' expectations, societal expectations, your friends' expectations, marketing, social media, influencers, they're all going to pull you in all different directions, going to create anxiety. This is why you pick things up, you can't stick to them, you start over and over and over again on things, is because you don't know what your North Star is. You don't know what you're aimed towards. And so when you know what you're aimed towards, you can't be pulled off track. And so that's why you can't stick to something. And the picking of the goal, the choosing of the vision is so important because it actually generates dopamine in your brain. And so if you have ADHD, if you have a hard time sticking to a budget, you tend to be a spender rather than a saver. You need this more than anybody else because you're very dopamine driven in your behaviors and your actions. So if you haven't sat down and thought about, like, what's a vision I have? It has to be unrealistic too. It needs to be something that's, like, out of this world. Sit down, think about what kind of vision do you have for yourself? And then figure out a way to boil that down into a 1.0 version. Obviously, where you are today and where you want to go, there's going to be a big gap, but that's good. The bigger the gap, the more dopamine. Okay, dopamine is the molecule of more. Yes, it does a lot of different things. It gets you to take an action over and over again, but it also is the thing that you feel in anticipation of a reward. Okay, so the bigger the gap, the more the anticipation. And the more the anticipation, the more dopamine. And so most of us are just not taught how to generate actual good sources of dopamine in our lives. We're constantly feeding off of cheap dopamine because we feel rewarded for the scrolling. Why? Because it's novelty. It's newness. We don't know what's going to come. When you don't know what's about to happen and you see a video you like, dopamine, you're rewarded. Do the behavior again. Do it again. Scroll again. Do another video. Again. But if you have a big goal, like a big vision, and then you tie everything that you're doing in your day-to-day life to that vision, guess what? It helps you repeat boring behaviors, helps you stay on track, helps you not get distracted, helps you actually achieve goals in your life. But it's just nobody's teaching us how to generate actual real sources of dopamine in our life. Why? They don't want to. Like, because you being distracted, you scrolling, you being caught up in everybody else's dreams, wish, wants, and goals, it keeps you broke. It keeps you spending, keeps you wandering, aimless. It keeps your wallet wide open. So in case you needed to know that today.